Okay, now that you have read about the two strategies, reforestation and protected areas yourself, I want to just add on a few points for you to think about. So we look at protected areas. I want to highlight again on page 13. Protected areas are areas which allow for controlled removal of trees and other natural resources, and these are areas that primarily safeguards the rights and livelihoods of indigenous people. So this means that, of course, as we mentioned earlier in the lesson, it doesn't mean that we stop deforestation entirely. Now, in the protected areas as well, technically you're not supposed to conduct deforestation, which is a total clearance of forest cover, but there can still be controlled removal of trees and other natural resources which the indigenous people may need. Because a lot of times indigenous people are living in these protected areas, so they may need to remove some trees or take away some resources for their own livelihood. So for example, to cut down trees for firewood and so on. Okay, so it doesn't mean that in a protected area there cannot be any removal of trees. There could be, but it has to be done in a sustainable manner in a way that really protects the livelihoods of indigenous people. Okay, because if you don't allow any activity at all within protected areas, then how are these indigenous people going to survive? Right, then I want to bring you to more criticism for both reforestation and protected areas. Number one, of course, enforcement is key to success. The role of the government is very crucial, not just in implementing the strategies, but also in enforcing them. So remember last week we looked at the case of palm oil, right? Unfortunately, a lot of palm oil is still found to be grown in areas that are protected in Indonesia and Malaysia. So for instance, a palm oil from an illegal plantation inside an Indonesian rainforest that is marked as a protected area to protect endangered orangutans. Palm oil from this protected area has found its way into major consumer brands like Nestle and Unilever. So people like you and me are also may also be consuming palm oil that are grown inside protected areas. So definitely enforcement is key. Just because there's a protected area doesn't mean that it would really be a protected area unless the government is serious about enforcing it. Okay, then there's another criticism that was in the lecture notes actually for both reforestation and protected areas. Sometimes when these strategies take place, what happens is that deforestation simply shifts to nearby unprotected forests. So, okay, you set up a protected area or you set up this area for reforestation. Then what companies do is that they simply shift their activities to another part of the forest that is not protected. So this happens because the underlying drivers are not addressed. So the underlying drivers could be economic growth, population growth, or the profit maximizing behavior of firms. So if these underlying drivers are not addressed, then deforestation may simply just shift to another area of the forest that is not protected. Okay, so this is also part of what you learn in Team 2, right? Part of this phenomenon of spatial fix, which was theorized by David Harvey, where he says that when capitalists can no longer exploit resources in one area, they simply move on to another area. So that's happening in the case of deforestation as well. So if the firms are unable to cut down the trees in one area because the area is protected, they simply move on to another area where the forests are not protected. Okay, so this of course means then that sustainable use of forests must be promoted and protected by the state. Because if the state does not put in measures to enforce and to really reduce the rate of deforestation, deforestation will just go on simply in unprotected areas, or in some case, it may even go on in protected areas themselves. Okay, so therefore, the role of the state is key. Then now I would like you to go on to watch a video by Vox, okay, about deforestation in Amazon. And from this case study, we can also see very strongly the role of the state in either promoting or discouraging deforestation in the Amazon. Okay, so I hope you enjoy the video.